Welcome to the Neshoba Valley Chamber podcast. My name is Melissa Fetterhoff. I'm the president and CEO of the Neshoba Valley Chamber, and I am here today with Jamie Conaghan from Main Street Bank. And remind us again, what was your title?
So it's Senior Vice President of Marketing and Digital.
Excellent. And how long have you been at Main Street now? It's been a while.
And this is the question every time I say it, it gets more fun to think about. So this month right now, it will be 19 years.
Oh my goodness.
So I started when I was 5.
Right? That's my line.
We're in this together.
I love it. Wow, 19 years. That's amazing. But when you started there, it wasn't called Main Street Bank.
No. Yeah.
So I have a history in banking before working at the chamber, and so banks do that. They go through transitions, and but you still work with a bunch of people that you've known for 19 years.
Yeah.
And so it's still a family, and awesome.
Definitely. Yeah.
What has been the best thing about working at Main Street?
What I love, and it stayed the same throughout the transitions that we've gone through and the growing pains that we've had, which every company has, by the way. I think it's just the opportunity to find what you're passionate about and go there. And I think, people think banking, and I know you're familiar, but there's a lot more to it than, being the person in the branch that hands out the cash, which is a really important role, but there's so many other opportunities. Banks need a marketing department. Banks have their own finance and accounting departments. They have IT. They have, everything in addition to the branch environment. And I think, getting the word out about that there's that opportunity there, it's, really impactful to be able to explore, like, what do you like doing? And I was given that, freedom and opportunity to find my niche, fail at some things and succeed at others. And I think that goes a long way in the career.
So truthfully, you bring it up, failure. And like, that is actually my favorite way to learn something. Like, because usually too, you're surrounded by either people or an organization, a company that is supportive of your failure, in that it's a learning experience. I don't work in like healthcare where a failure might be, a life or something, thankfully. But it's a great way to learn. And that's one of the things that I've always, tried with people that I've worked with is test some things out. And there might be many failures, but we're here to support. And I love that Main Street does that.
Yeah. No, somebody who worked at the bank at one point had once said, like, nobody's going to die if the bank doesn't open its doors, to, be a little tongue in cheek, but, to that extent, anything that we do, it has a big impact, but we are, we have some leeway to take risks, I guess, and see how that goes. And I like that you said, Melissa, mini failures. I love that. I think like little experiments is another way to look at it too.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to do a little experiment.
Yeah.
And we're going to try something. And we've done that, in many different ways at the bank to see, okay, let's see how this goes. And the, lower stakes sometimes tend to go over better with people, but you get to explore a little bit outside of, your organizational comfort zone. Yes.
One of the things that I always said was, I don't save lives. But banking really is, it does feel like you're saving lives sometimes, because, and I remember this from when I was in banking, not having, if somebody's ATM card or debit card, doesn't work, that can feel like when you're at the grocery store and there's a line of people behind you, it does feel like your life is, coming to a crash right then and there, or if you're mortgaged for whatever reason. And so I always think of when I was in banking, folks would, if a payment doesn't go through, it doesn't mean that you don't have the money in your account. It just means there could have been a little glitch, but let's figure it out. And one of the things that I've loved, because I do have my account at Main Street Bank, my personal account.
Thank you.
Actually, and our work account. But one of the things that I've loved, because I've had my bank account at Main Street for ever, is that Main Street works with you. And so, yeah, I've had a bounce check, and and Main Street will, is like, Melissa, what were you thinking? And I probably wasn't, is what the answer is. But I love that Main Street is so supportive and works with their customers. And
Yeah, no, thank you. And we appreciate that. And I'm going to go back a couple of steps to what you said. You're not saving lives. I would argue that what you do at the chamber does save lives because, if we didn't have resources for our local businesses, for the community, there's a lot of lives that are at stake in that. And I think, never, I know you don't, but, don't downplay what you do because you are amazing. And what the chamber does
oh,
for the Neshoba region is amazing.
well, thank you so much. But we're not here to talk about the Neshoba Valley Chamber, although I do love talking about the Neshoba Valley Chamber. So let's talk about Main Street Bank's community engagement and the support that Main Street Bank provides. So they've been a staple in the community for so many years. How many years? Like a lot.
So I like to go back to the oldest year, so 1860. But obviously changed a few names, changed a few presidents, but still that same root in the community. A lot of the same connections that brought the bank to where it is today. And a lot of the same buildings really
Yes.
where we have existed. So there's some deep longevity in the community.
And as an organization that has many folks from Main Street Bank involved with us, I can say I appreciate it. And so you guys, I know your team, they're involved in all kinds of committees and boards and nonprofit organizations. Um, what other organizations are you involved in? I know you're involved in many.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of speaking to the moral of the bank, which we actually do. We have a moral. So that's a fun
I
fact that
love
maybe
it.
people don't know. So one of the things when we became Main Street Bank, we went through the whole process, but one thing that came out of it was like, what's our moral? Kind of like, the story that you learn, that lesson or that key kind of message. So the moral of our story is that our lives are richer when we support one another, which is, and we live by that. Like it's not just kind of a fluffy, nice thing that sounds good. It's really, it came to the top because it's what our employees do. It's what our customers recognize and our communities recognize. So, weaving that into the fabric of how we behave, how we do business, it's a part of every piece of the bank. And so, to your point, from the community side, so for me personally, obviously, big supporter of the Neshoba Valley Chamber.
Okay.
Ever since I got involved, what, 5 years ago,
Yeah.
6 years ago,
Some,
something like that. I've always said to everybody, this chamber is one of the most welcoming.
oh, thank you.
And so it made me feel right at home from day one. So certainly here, I recently joined the board for Habitat for Humanity of North Central Massachusetts.
Great organization.
Very much so. So very excited about that and seeing, what certainly the bank has been involved for many years, but what I can do specifically to help because affordable housing and the housing, market and the challenges that we face there, that's not going away. It's only becoming a larger issue. And I think, doing our part however we can to make sure that our community has a safe, secure place to live. I mean, that's one of the basic human rights. So if we could do that, that's going to set people up for success and help our local economy and help everybody in the long run. So there's that. And then I'm involved in some, more professional focus associations. So New England Financial Marketing Association is one that I've been involved with for many years. From a professional standpoint, it just helps me sharpen my tools that I use
Absolutely.
as a marketing professional and get a network of people who have similar challenges and roles and get to learn from my peers. So those are where I'm involved, but I think every one of the bank's officers is involved in some capacity with a local organization and or nonprofit in our market area.
I love it. I love it. So, adapting to digital trends, there's been a rapid shift towards digital banking. How has Main Street Bank adapted its strategies to meet these evolving needs?
Yeah, I mean, you hear about it all the time, and everybody's talking about digital and AI and all of that, and where does that play a part? And I think keeping our eyes on all of that is, our responsibility
Mm-hmm.
as an organization, not just for, our future and our growth, but also for our customers. And, I can talk a lot about the fraud aspect of technology
Oh,
and how that comes into play. And certainly there's a lot there. But for us, it's keeping an eye on the trends and also meeting our customers where they're at. And I
mm-hmm.
say this a lot. We have new employees coming in, and I say one of the first things I say is that's how we work with technology and innovation, is how do we meet our customers where they're at?
Mm-hmm.
What are they asking for, and where do they want it? And a good example of that, and I know you've used this, is our Video Connect
I
service.
have. I love it.
So for those who haven't, we have, I like to call it FaceTime with your banker, or Zoom, but in a more secured banking setting. But Video Connect is basically our answer to, I can't get to the branch, it's just too much of a hassle, or I have a bunch of people on my account and I can't get them all in the same room together, or I just need to do something really quick, or I want to talk to a person but I can't get to a physical branch location. And so we actually launched this in 2021. So there was a lot going on in the world, if we all remember, around that time. So there was that. But I think it was a natural evolution. Maybe we made it happen faster, but it was a natural evolution and extension of how we serve our customers. And I tie this back to meeting people where they're at, because the way Video Connect works, as you know, is you can call in from any device that you've got camera and microphone access, and you get connected to a live person. It's not a bot, it's a real person. It's Maria, it's anyone else on the team,
Yeah.
right? And they are able to answer, pretty much any banking question, ID our customers, which is huge because we know the fraud piece, seeing
Absolutely.
people right there, and then handle any transaction aside from cash. That's most of them
Yes.
in today's day and age. You talk about the debit cards, you talk about all that. So there's still a need for cash in some cases, but most of the time, your standard banking transaction is more about, I need to sign a document, I need to update my information, I need to open an account, I need to ask a question. And that's what Video Connect can do. And meeting people where they're at, you can choose to do that. But we still have branches that people can go into if that is how they want to do their banking business. So we're not taking the branch, we're not taking the people out of the branch to be able to do Video Connect. It's the customer's choice. You can choose how you're most comfortable. So I think that's probably my favorite example of how we've approached technology and our evolution into that space. But certainly we're always looking at adding more to the ways that people can transact.
Nice. Yeah, I did use it. I have used it a handful of times. It's such a great tool to have available to you so I do like to go to the branch when I can. And of course, you build a relationship with those folks, but the folks behind the camera are the same folks that come to
Mm-hmm.
chamber events that I see all the time also. So I have a relationship with them, and I see Maria at Golf League every week, and so it's you're still having that ability for that face to face, that building that relationship, and having your have me being what is it
Meeting
meeting.
people where they're at.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah. Well, you guys do a great job with that, so thank you.
Thank you.
Um, Customer experience is crucial in banking industry. What is Main Street doing to keep the experience at forefront?
Yeah. Yeah. So Video Connect is a good example of that, but I'm not
Yes.
going to rehash that. But I think that whole mentality that you touched on, Melissa, about I know those people and I see them and they're in our community, I think we've held on to that. Um, when other organizations that aren't so connected to the community aren't doing that, and so I think that's a big part of how we're providing a good customer experience, is that we're here, we live here, we work here, we play here. So we know what's going on and we want to keep in tune to what's going on in our communities. I think another thing, and I want to say that a lot of our local businesses appreciate this, is accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
However you want to access, but having someone answer, when we still have a live person answering our phone, our main line, which is a purposeful decision, because that is, again, speaking to who we are. But we've got people on the other end, we've got our direct contact information gosh, all the way up to Wally, as you know, our CEO, on our website.
Yeah.
And we've had people call him and be like, "Hey, how do I order checks?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll make sure that gets done for you." And then he turns around and goes to the branch and says, "Hey,
How do we order checks?
we need checks for this
Yes.
person." But I mean, that just again speaks to how we do business from the top all the way down. It's everybody. This isn't my phrase. I'm sure someone else has said this numerous times, but we're all in sales and we're all in marketing and we're all in customer service.
Yeah.
And that's really how we own it. And we talk about, I think I mentioned new hire orientation that I do. That's a message they get on day 1, day 2 of coming to the bank, is that we're all empowered to be part of the customer experience in some way, no matter what department you're in.
Nice. I love it. You mentioned we talked a little bit about fraud.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a big issue nowadays. Well, it's been such a big issue for for years, and growing concern in the banking industry. What are some of the current trends in fraud that Main Street Bank is seeing, and how are you guys addressing this?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, more recently, probably the past couple of years now, we've seen a big uptick, and I think it's almost overtaking the digital side of things in check fraud.
Wow.
I know. It's unbelievable how everything old becomes new again,
Yes,
even
it
in
does.
fraud. And so we're seeing a lot of, particularly for our business customers, where a lot of them are local businesses.
Yeah.
This is their livelihood. We want to protect that. So we're seeing, check fraud, which is essentially you've got a check, mail a check to pay your bills or pay your employees. Some fraudster gets a hold of it, washes the check so that it doesn't, say who it's made out to anymore, and might change the amount, and try to pass it off as a check made to them. So that's happening, like people stealing from mailboxes, people, hopefully not as often, but people in the office stealing from, places. So it's something that to think about, like, where do you keep the checks for your company? Is it secured? Is it locked? Is it under, dual control where two people have to be present to access it? These are all things. So a big piece of what we do is educate, let people know these are the best practices. Here's what you should be doing. With the check fraud, don't stick it in a public mailbox. If you can avoid that, go to the post office to send out checks. Use electronic means to pay your bills online.
I do that.
Yeah.
With Main Street Bank.
So those are good best practices. And then we do have services that help. So you think about the technology. So with check fraud and payment fraud in particular, we have a service called Positive Pay and ACH Positive Pay. And essentially what that does is our business customers can upload a check register of who they've made checks out to their online banking, and then it will look and determine, okay, was this a check on the register? If no, I'm going to send an alert but not pay it. And that it does require a little work on the business side to go in, review your exceptions is what they call it if it's not in there. But I mean, a little extra effort on the front end can save a lot of heartache on the back end. So we talk about that product quite a bit. And it works the same way with like ACH electronic payments. So if you haven't authorized them, and said, okay, these are good to go,
Nice.
then it's going to flag or return. And so somebody has to kind of manage that each day. But we also say, check your accounts every day, especially our business customers. Mm-hmm. But anybody really should be keeping an eye on your accounts, looking for transactions that, hey, this doesn't look right. I didn't do this. Let the bank know ASAP when you see something that doesn't look right, because the sooner we can get eyes on it, the sooner we can help make sure that it doesn't go any further than that.
And it's so easy with online banking now to just log in, take a quick peek at your account, and verify that everything's good.
Yeah, for sure. So there's all kinds of tools. We have alerts. Send me a text, send me an email, something comes through, so at least I can kind of get a little flag of, hey, I don't remember doing something for that amount. So there's a lot of different tools, and it's really, we get to the point, and I'm in marketing, we get to the point where we feel like, I have said this so many times, people must be sick of me saying, hey, here's what you could do, here's another fraud to be aware of, but it's happening still.
Yeah. I do when I get my Main Street Bank e-newsletters and, get those educational pieces of, what to watch out for. But but you do have to keep reminding people, because if you're not paying attention and you just blink for 1 minute, you never know.
Yeah, very true.
So looking ahead, what do you see as some key goals and visions for Main Street over the next few years?
Yeah, I think, a lot of what we talked about,
Yeah.
still being heavily involved in the community, and also looking at, what technologies and innovations can we take on that, always looking at how it's going to improve the customer experience, help our employees do their jobs more effectively and efficiently, and use their skills to create a better customer experience. So I see that still being the trend. Listening to what our communities and our customers need from a financial institution,
Mm-hmm.
so that we're allocating our resources appropriately.
Nice.
Because I think, sometimes you see organizations say, I think customers would like this, and then nobody wants it, nobody needs it. Why did we do that?
Yeah.
So we want to be, mindful of, let's make sure we're again meeting our customers where they're at. What are they looking for? Getting feedback. I think those are all really important. So I definitely see us investing a lot into that growth, and making sure that we have the tools that our customers need.
Nice. Well, I can say that I appreciate all that you and all of the team from Main Street Bank and the bank that, that you guys have done for the Neshoba Valley Chamber, for the other businesses in our region. You have I know that it's not something that we planned necessarily to talk about, but you have a lot of business resources available, for businesses that are looking to expand, looking for, great checking and savings and different options. I know that you guys have those resources available and the team that is interested in connecting with those people. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you can think of?
One other thing I'd
Yes.
like to share, in case, and some people may be familiar with this, but if you're not, it's become more important lately. It's one of those things that we talked about a lot, but then in recent years it became more important. You talked about our products and services. One thing that Main Street Bank has that not every financial institution has is 100% deposit insurance. So, for those of you who may be familiar, all banks have, or are required to have, FDIC insurance, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. That insures each depositor up to $250,000 at an institution. So we have that, of course, but then we also have a secondary insurance called DIF, which is Depositors Insurance Fund, and that insures our customers' deposits above that 250 limit that the FDIC has. This has become particularly important in today's environment, following some of the things that have transpired over the past couple of years in the banking industry. So we're, fortunate that we've had that, and we've been able to provide that to our customers and give them that peace of mind that, you can keep your business with us and it's protected.
Nice. That is a peace of mind for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. So for folks that want more information, your website is?
So our website is, and I'm going to give you both directions, it's bankmainstreet.com, but it's also mainstreetbank.com. So you can get there either way and you will find us.
Excellent.
Yes.
And you have locations.
So we have 6 branch locations throughout the North Middlesex County and Metro West region. So Air, Pepperell in the northern Middlesex region, and then Marlborough, Hudson, Southborough, and Northborough.
But as we've discussed, you can also do online, what is it called again?
Video Connect.
Video Connect.
Yes. So Video Connect has I call it a branch without boundaries. We've had customers, I know we're already talked about it, but we've had customers call in from Australia.
What?
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
Yes. I think one in China. We've had customers who are in the military and deployed overseas.
Yes.
And so they've had to, whatever it is, maybe do their banking, ask a question, and they've talked. So Maria likes to say they're cross-continental.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's very cool. Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for joining us on our podcast. And for those of you out there, Main Street Bank gets 2 thumbs up from the Neshoba Valley Chamber. We've been proud partners for longer than either of us has been involved in either organization, and so they're a huge asset to our community. So thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
and looking forward to the next thing we get to partner on.
you. Yeah, won't be too long.
Thank you.